Kerala, God's own country, once a beacon of literacy, progress and social harmony. Now, a place where shadows lengthen and whispers of a different kind of trade fill the air. The drug mafia, once a distant threat, has sunk its teeth into Kerala's soul. Their poison spreads like wildfire, leaving behind a trail of broken lives and shattered dreams. We hear about drug busts, seizures of cocaine and heroin, but these headlines tell only half the story. The real tragedy unfolds on our streets, in our homes, and in the hearts of our people. The drug mafia's influence is insidious, corrupting everything it touches. It preys on the vulnerable, offering false promises of escape and euphoria. Young people especially are falling victim to this deadly trap. They become slaves to addiction, their lives consumed by the desperate need for the next fix. Families are torn apart, communities fractured. The drug mafia thrives on silence, on fear. But we can no longer afford to be silent. We must break the cycle of addiction, expose the criminals who profit from misery, and reclaim our paradise. Remember when news from Kerala was all about beautiful beaches and peaceful backwaters? Those days seem long gone. Now, the headlines scream of something far more sinister. A 35-year-old woman runs off with a 14-year-old boy. A young man, high on who knows what, turns on his own family in a fit of rage. A 4-year-old child, innocent and vulnerable, becomes the victim of unspeakable cruelty. These aren't isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a deeper sickness, a moral decay eating away at the fabric of our society. Drugs fuel this descent into darkness, blurring the lines between right and wrong, turning ordinary people into monsters. We ask ourselves, what's happening to our Kerala? Where did we go wrong? It's easy to point fingers, to blame the government, the police, the system. But the truth is, we're all complicit in this tragedy. We've become desensitized to the violence, the suffering, the sheer madness unfolding around us. We shake our heads, sigh, and turn the page, as if it's just another day in paradise. But this is not paradise. This is a nightmare, and it's time we woke up. Violence has become so commonplace in Kerala that it barely registers anymore. A news report flashes across the screen. A brutal assault, a murder, a horrific act of cruelty. We react with a shrug, a sigh, maybe a quick comment to whoever's nearby. Then we move on, our minds already preoccupied with the next distraction. Have we become so numb to the pain, so accustomed to the darkness, that we've lost our capacity for outrage? Where's the collective gasp of horror, the outpouring of grief, the demand for justice? This desensitization is dangerous. It allows the cycle of violence to continue, the drug mafia to flourish, the moral compass of our society to spin wildly out of control. We can't afford to be passive observers in our own destruction. We must rediscover our empathy, our humanity. We need to feel the weight of each tragedy, let it stir something within us, ignite a fire that demands change. Because turning away, becoming numb, that's the real death knell for a society. Our police force is on the front lines of this war against drugs, risking their lives every day to keep our streets safe. But are they fighting a losing battle? The drug mafia is powerful, well-funded, and deeply entrenched. They have their hooks in every level of society, from the streets to the corridors of power. Our officers are outmatched, outgunned, and often demoralized. They face an enemy that's always one step ahead, an enemy that doesn't play by the rules. And let's be honest, corruption within the ranks doesn't help. When those sworn to uphold the law are themselves compromised, it erodes public trust and emboldens the criminals. We need to empower our police force, give them the resources, the training, and the support they need to do their jobs effectively. We need to weed out corruption, restore accountability, and send a clear message. Kerala will no longer be a safe haven for drug traffickers. Section 5. Empty promises. A government asleep at the wheel. Politicians, with their grand speeches and empty promises, they're quick to offer condolences after every tragedy. They talk about cracking down on drug trafficking, about rehabilitating addicts, about restoring law and order. But their words ring hollow, because when the cameras are gone and the headlines fade, nothing changes. The drug problem persists, the violence continues, and Kerala sinks deeper into despair. Is it incompetence? Indifference? Or are they in cahoots with the very people they're supposed to be fighting against? The truth is, We may never know. But one thing's for sure, our current leadership is failing us. They're failing to protect our children, failing to address the root causes of this crisis, and failing to offer any real solutions. We need leaders who are willing to acknowledge the gravity of the situation, who have the courage to take on the drug mafia, and who are committed to creating a Kerala that's safe for all. Section 6. The human cost: poverty, inequality, and the drug trade. The drug trade doesn't just thrive on addiction, it thrives on desperation. It preys on the marginalized, the hopeless, those who feel they have nothing left to lose. In a state like Kerala, where economic disparities are widening and many struggle to make ends meet, the drug mafia finds fertile ground for recruitment. Young people especially are vulnerable. They see no future in a system that seems rigged against them. They see their parents struggling, their dreams slipping away, and they turn to drugs as a way to escape, to numb the pain, to feel something, anything, other than the crushing weight of their reality. We can't address the drug problem without addressing the underlying socio-economic issues that fuel it. We need to create opportunities for our youth, invest in education and job creation, and ensure that everyone has a chance to build a better life. Section 7. The rot within. Corruption's grip on Kerala. Corruption is a cancer that eats away at the very core of a society. And let's be honest, Kerala is not immune. When those in positions of power, those entrusted with upholding the law, are themselves compromised, it creates a breeding ground for criminality. We hear whispers of police officers turning a blind eye to drug trafficking, of politicians accepting bribes from the mafia, of officials manipulating records for personal gain. These whispers may be difficult to prove, but the stench of corruption is undeniable. Corruption erodes public trust, undermines the rule of law, and sends a dangerous message that crime does pay. We need to root out corruption at all levels, hold those in power accountable, and create a system that's transparent and just. Section 8. Feeding the beast: media frenzy and moral panic. The media has a crucial role to play in a democracy. It's meant to inform the public, hold those in power accountable, and spark meaningful conversations about important issues. But somewhere along the way, the lines got blurred. Sensationalism trumped responsible reporting. Profit took precedence over truth. And the 24/7 news cycle, with its insatiable appetite for the shocking and the outrageous, became a monster we struggle to control. When it comes to the drug crisis in Kerala, the media often feeds into a climate of fear and moral panic. Headlines scream about the menace of drugs, about Kerala's youth falling prey to addiction, about the collapse of law and order. These narratives, while not entirely untrue, often lack nuance and fail to address the complex realities of the situation. We need the media to do better. We need responsible reporting that sheds light on the root causes of the drug crisis, the challenges faced by law enforcement, and the human cost of addiction. We need journalism that informs, not inflames, that encourages dialogue, not division. Section 9. A glimmer of hope, reclaiming paradise. The picture I've painted may seem bleak, but I refuse to give in to despair. There's still hope for Kerala. We have the power to reclaim our paradise, to heal our society, to build a better future for our children. But it won't be easy. It requires a collective effort, a commitment from each and every one of us. We need to start by acknowledging the gravity of the situation. We can't pretend that the drug problem doesn't exist, or that it will magically disappear on its own. We need to have honest conversations about addiction, about violence, about the failings of our institutions. We need to support our law enforcement agencies, provide them with the resources and training they need to effectively combat drug trafficking, and hold them accountable for any instances of corruption or abuse of power. We need to invest in rehabilitation programs for addicts, offering them a path to recovery and a chance to rebuild their lives. We need to address the socio-economic disparities that make people vulnerable to the lure of the drug trade. This means creating opportunities for education, job training, and entrepreneurship, ensuring that everyone has a chance to participate in Kerala's economic growth. We need to strengthen our families and communities, fostering a culture of empathy, compassion, and support. We need to teach our children about the dangers of drugs, but we also need to create a society where they feel valued, empowered, and hopeful about the future. Reclaiming paradise won't be easy. It will require courage, determination, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But together, we can overcome this challenge. We can heal our society. We can build a Kerala that's worthy of the name God's own country.